Hey there, welcome back to another exciting episode of Can You MSP It, where I have Matt from MSPX and Demetrius from Xamplify. These are some PitchIT 2025 contestants, and we are excited to participate in PitchIT again this year. I think this is such a great program because it brings MSP vendors that may be new to the space. They may not be new in terms of doing this a while, but they're absolutely new to this space. And it's really a privilege to get to kind of introduce them to the All Things MSP audience. And I really thank not only the participants, which are brave enough to come on here and do this with me, which, by the way, you guys are my second set of victims here. Contestants. And but I also want to thank ConnectWise and IT Nation for doing this and putting on the Pitch It program because I think it is valuable to the industry. So I have Matt Yesbeck from MSPX. Matt, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, like it was just said, I am Matt Yesbeck, co-founder of MSPX. We are the internet's first unified marketplace for the buying and selling of managed services contracts.
Awesome, and we're going to dig into that because I think this is something new and potentially exciting when it comes to the strategy for MSPs.
I know it gets me out of bed every morning. Sorry.
Great. And Demetrius Garcia from Xamplify.
Correct. I'm Demetrius Garcia, the president of Xamplify, and we have a partner ecosystem platform that's AI driven. And what we're looking to do is just help MSPs and partner level practitioners just go to market with more efficiency and accuracy.
Awesome. Now, I did not have them go deeply into what they're talking about because that's part of the game, right? We're going to kind of pull some of that stuff out. So we have, and I am going to be keeping score, by the way, highly technical, highly, calculated scoring system that doesn't mean a single thing, but it's going to be fun anyway.
All right.
And I've gone through a very strict algorithm for deciding who's going to go first, but not really. So we're just going to take turns and I flipped a coin to see who's going to go first. But the first part of the game is I want you to give me a 1-line or 15-second pitch without using buzzwords. Now, I didn't give you the list of buzzwords. I get to decide what the buzzwords are. So you're really at my mercy depending on the score for this round. Now, like I said, I totally randomly chose Matt to go first.
Nice. I'll give you my pitch, which is MSPX is the internet's first unified marketplace for the buying and selling of managed services contracts. Designed for growth-minded MSPs, it enables structured transactions, whether you're scaling up, pruning your portfolio, or planning a clean exit. MSPX is where contracts become currency.
Awesome. And I don't think I heard a buzzword.
Excellent.
Eric, I do have a question. Is there a word count on that 1-line pitch?
That wasn't one line. That was one breath.
I was going to say, I was going to make a comment about that kind of being a run-on sentence.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Comma, semicolon, maybe an M dash, right?
All right. So, Demetrius, your 1-line, 15-second.
Xamplify is innovating the channel with AI, and our goal is to help partners go to market with more efficiency and accuracy.
All right. So, with the wild calculations that we're going to do on those two and deducting a small amount of points for Matt's run-on sentence, I'm going to award 25 points to Demetrius and 20 points to Matt.
I'll take it.
The next question I'm going to ask you, and I do have specific questions for each of you, so this is not really the question. It's going to be related to this, though, is what common MSP client issues does your solution help with? And what I've done here is I've tried to put together some questions that are specific to your solution that kind of go along with this question. And of course, we're taking turns on this. So the first one to go this time is Demetrius. So my question to you is, as an MSP, I struggle with getting my vendor partners' solutions to be relevant for my clients. How does Xamplify help me bridge that gap?
What a wonderful question. So, what we do understand about some MSPs is that they don't have a dedicated sales and marketing team. So, our AI agent, which we call Oliver, it is able to take content and break that content down into layman's terms and simplify it for marketing purposes so that no matter who their respective client is, that content can be tailored to that respective audience so they can understand not only right the vendor solution but also where this where the MSP adds value through their services.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Demetrius. All right. And Matt, as an MSP, how does MSPX help me grow my business?
Yeah, again, that is a great question. And the way that MSPX would help an MSP grow their business is by being able to subscribe to the marketplace and browse the available contracts for sale. So you can certainly use MSPX as a growth engine. You can use it to essentially strategically buy yourself into a geographical location, maybe take on contracts that will stack into your preferred vertical. So really, it's not a replacement for a well-oiled sales engine. That really does need to be in place. But this is a second avenue for revenue. And when you look at it that way, it can really collapse the sales cycle from months or years into days or weeks.
Awesome. And that's where I think this is something that's kind of very different for the MSP space anyway. I think buying and selling of contracts has existed in other spaces for a while, but this is the first time I've heard of actually bringing it to the MSP space.
Yep.
So for novelty's sake alone, I'm going to award 25 points to Matt and 20 points to Demetrius. So we have a tied game.
That's what it sounds like.
All right, next is one of my favorite parts of the game, and that is where I am going to play the grumpy MSP and have you guys field some tough and maybe slightly exaggerated objections from a character playing the skeptical MSP. All right, and of course, in our totally random way of picking who goes first, Matt, you're up for this one.
Yeah.
So I have to change voices for that. So Matt, I don't get it. Why would I want to sell my contracts to another MSP?
Well, there are many different reasons that you could sell a contract to another MSP. It could be because you want to refocus your business. Maybe you're moving from SMB to mid-market. Maybe there's just not a good cultural fit between the client and yourself. They could be a customer that you took on in your early days where it was okay to have a 5 or 7 or 8 seat company, but now your minimum is 15 or 20 and they're really just overworked and not coming along for the ride. Could be another great reason. And certainly geographic shifts. So there can be several different reasons why you might want to divest the contract on the marketplace. And typically what ends up happening is MSPs just end up firing those customers and they lose that revenue and they lose the ability to successfully have that customer feel like they've been taken care of and transition to another vetted MSP. And as we all know, word of mouth is, we live and die by that locally. And so we really don't want any SMBs parting ways with us and having any kind of hurt feelings. So really it's a win-win in that respect. And that's why you would probably want to list the contract on the marketplace.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And Demetrius, let me change my voice here again. Be grumpy. My wife says I get it naturally. Most of my business is word of mouth. What does Xamplify do that referrals can't?
What Xamplify does that referrals necessarily can't do is if in the event you come across a prospect or a client and you don't quite meet their minimum requirement, our partner ecosystem platform has a host of partners to which we can introduce you to that can help you stack your service offering so you can then therefore meet that minimum requirement by your respective prospect or potential client.
Well, I think you guys handled the grumpy MSP pretty well, although one was definitely Texan. I don't know where that came from. But thank you very much for satisfying the grumpy MSP. And let's see, for this round, let's just go high. Let's do 60 points to Xamplify and Demetrius and 50 points to MSPX and Mr. Matt.
Not bad.
All right. So here we come to the last question of the afternoon. This is where I'm going to ask you about your stack. Now, this is an interesting one, Matt. I had to actually come up with a kind of a different question for you, but I think it's going to be relevant,
Okay.
and I think it's going to fit. So, but I can't talk about it yet because, of course, through our completely random set of ways of picking this, Demetrius, it is your turn first this time. So, how does Xamplify help me work more effectively with the vendors in my stack?
That's a really great question. So the one thing that we wanted to address in the channel was visibility, first and foremost, right? And then two, also going to market competency. So within our particular platform, right, we are able to capture analytics so that vendors are able to make data-driven decisions, right, with their respective partners. They can understand who first touched that particular client contact because they can see the data and the digital footprints behind those marketing efforts and those engagement efforts by the partner. Now, at the partner level, like I said, we have Oliver. So if you're looking to tailor your messaging to whether it be an auto shop, a dental office, a law firm, I'm going to tell you something. I'm an attorney. I don't get all of the technical language that you heard by technologists within the channel. However, the one thing I do know is even as a lawyer, we understand this concept called layman terms, how to communicate your value proposition to your respective audience. And that's what we're doing for the partner. We're helping them communicate their value proposition to the respective audience, leveraging AI.
Awesome. I think that one might be hard to beat, Matt.
I'm going to try.
Okay. So here's your question. Obviously, MSPX is not really part of your tech stack, but rather their business stack. How does it plug into your overall strategy as an MSP?
Yeah, as I had mentioned previously, MSPX is not a replacement for a well-oiled and functioning sales engine. That obviously needs to be in place at any MSP. But MSPX is that second avenue for revenue. So the way we're going to plug in is when an MSP signs up for MSPX. They are going to look at that again as another avenue for bringing in business, a quicker way to bring in business, a lower cost to bring in that business, but certainly not something that you're going to want to give over the entirety of your business's growth for that year too, right? So again, this is a second avenue for revenue. And so that's how that should fit into the overall strategy. There should certainly be a salesperson or someone that you've designated that business development to that will be browsing and regularly taking a look at what's on the marketplace to supplement.
Awesome. So those were really, especially because that question is not really geared to either of you, right? Because it's more about tech stack.
Yeah.
But I think everything touches everything in this business, and being able to properly communicate your tech stack and what your vendors are offering is what Xamplify is going to help the MSP do. And then MSPX is really going to fit into that overall business or business development, really to be specific, strategy, not only to help you satisfy those clients who come to you that don't really fit so you can sell off that contract, but also go and look for contracts that are a fit for you that aren't a fit for somebody else that they're trying to sell in the marketplace.
Exactly. Yes. Sell to reinvest.
You guys are making this really hard for me. So I'm kind of struggling to do what to do here, but I think it's 100 points to Xamplify. I think MSPX just edged out a little bit. So with 110, my problem though here is that I don't know how this happened because this is completely random and not made up at all, is that we have a tie again. So in the case of a tie, luckily I did prepare for this. I did prepare for the rare exception when these ties happen. Okay. So I do have a bonus question.
Bonus.
And it is, explain it to me like I'm 5. Now, this is not going to follow the back and forth because this one, I don't know. This one could be kind of weird, and because it's weird, it could be hard. So what I'm going to do, typically, Matt, you would have gone next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip a coin. You're going to pick heads or tails. And then if you win, you're going to get to pick if you go first or second. Okay? So here we go. What do you pick?
Heads.
Heads. Okay, here we go. And by the way, pirate is heads, and whatever this is on the back, it's tails. And it is tails. So Demetrius, you get to choose whether you want to take this question first or let Matt suffer with it first.
All right. I have an 8-year-old son who's obsessed with what I do, right?
So you're used to this.
I can tee off first. All right.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. So you would like for me to explain what it is that we do to a 5-year-old.
Yes.
All right. So in the modern world, technology, the computers, TV, the internet has really got in the way of people actually working face to face. What our company has done is we built a robot internally within our systems that helps people go to market, sell their products so they have more time working face to face. The way we do that, right, is that we're able to help them take their messaging and simplify it for who they're trying to sell it to, right? So that person understands what they're selling, right? And that person can spend more time talking to more customers, right? And more clients instead of writing and typing on their computer all day.
Matt, you've had a little extra time to prepare. So expecting a little bit more here.
I don't know. Let's see. So when you own a service business, much like MSP, and you have customers, those customers and your business have a contract between those two. And there is occasion where there is a need for the service provider to fire that customer for, again, different reasons. But what MSPX wants to do is to be able to hand that customer over to another MSP that will take care of them as good or better than we currently are.
Again, hard choices. I think, Matt, you're good for 4,999 points. But Demetrius, I'm going to give you a full 5,000. Because
Very good.
Hey, Matt, I have an inquisitive 8-year-old who talks to me around the clock, right? I kind of had an upper hand here.
Yes, I'll give you the point. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter, but a point difference, I can live.
Yeah, hey, man, you killed it though, dude. Honestly, you came in guns blazing with all that energy and that great smile of yours, man. Good job today.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
Yeah, we say there are no losers on this show. Mm-hmm. Literally, the only reason I keep score is to decide who gets to tell me how to get a hold of you if they're interested in their products next. So, Demetrius, because you did win by 1 point, go ahead and let our audience know how they can get a hold of Xamplify.
You can reach out to me directly, Garcia at Xamplify. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm very responsive, right? I'm one of those people who are out there in the industry who just love to get to know people. I want to know your story. I want to know what you're going through, and I want to know how I can be of service. We're a service first oriented company, right? And we want to find out how we can serve the community better. So feel free to reach out. We'd love to understand what you're going through, what your story is, and what your initiatives are this year, and discover how we can be of service to you.
Awesome. And Matt, how does somebody reach out to MSPX?
Yeah, so our current MVP website is www.mspx.store. If you go there, you'll hit our landing page. You'll see a pop-up that says, hey, fill out this form to be notified when the relaunch occurs here at the end of August. I can also be reached directly at matt@mspx.store or 1-888 the MSPX. Reach out anytime. Be glad to talk about what's on your mind in regards to how MSPX can be a growth strategy or a way to liquefy, to reinvest, retire, or realign.
I like throwing out the 888 number. That is, haven't heard one of those in a while.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you for being here. And thank you for putting up with the really crazy scoring system. This is just for fun, and the points really don't matter. You both did great, and I am looking forward to seeing what else you guys do in the PitchIT 2025 competition. And we will see the audience in the next edition of Can You MSP It?